She kissed him back. That was her sin. She was never supposed to be in his bedroom. Never supposed to taste his lips. Never supposed to let a Korean crime lord look at her like she was the only real thing in his world. But she did. And in exactly 72 hours, that kiss would put a gun to her brother's head 6,000 miles away. Your brother will die knowing your foolish heart killed him. That's what his mother told her. Right before she handed Ada an envelope with $500,000 and said, "Disappear. Tonight. Or everyone you love suffers." But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the beginning. To the night Adiz Okonkwo, a Nigerian cleaner working the graveyard shift, accidentally walked into the private bedroom of the most dangerous man in South Korea. She was supposed to die that night. She didn't. And that's when everything went wrong. Hey fam, welcome back to Afro Soul Diaries. Click that subscribe button now to be a part of this lovely community and enjoy top-notch storytelling. Comment so we can bond better. Now let's dive into today's story. The gun clicked. On your knees. Ada dropped. Marble bit into bone. Her cleaning cart crashed behind her. 3 men surrounded her. The 4th pressed cold steel to her temple. Please. Her voice cracked. I am the cleaner. The night cleaner. I was told to clean this floor. This floor is restricted. The gunman's Korean was sharp, military precise. No one enters without authorization. I have authorization. The night supervisor, Mr. Park. Mr. Park sent me. You can check. We do not check. The gun pressed harder. We remove problems. Ada's heart hammered so violently she was certain they could hear it. 26 years old. 6,000 miles from home. And this was how it ended, kneeling on cold marble in a Seoul penthouse, accused of being a threat when all she had ever been was invisible. Her thoughts flashed to Emeka. Her little brother. Hospital bed back in Lagos. Waiting for the money she would never send. The gunman's finger tightened. 1 pound of pressure between her and never seeing Emeka again. Enough. The voice came from the doorway. Low. Absolute. Ice wrapped in silk. Every man froze. Ada had cleaned for powerful men before. Politicians. Executives. Men who thought money made them gods. This was different. This man didn't think he was a god. He knew it. He stood in the penthouse doorway wearing a 3-piece suit at 2 in the morning like it was the most natural thing in the world. Tall. Sharp-featured. Eyes so dark they seemed to absorb light. He moved into the room without hurry, and the guards parted like water before a blade. Chairman. The gunman lowered his weapon immediately. We found her on the restricted floor. No clearance. No identification. The man, the chairman, said nothing. He walked closer. His footsteps made no sound on the marble. Ada stayed frozen on her knees, afraid to move, afraid to breathe. He stopped directly in front of her. Close enough that she could smell sandalwood and something darker. Something that smelled like danger. He pulled out his phone. 1 call. 20 seconds. His eyes never left her face. She is telling the truth. The words should have brought relief. Instead, Ada felt something shift. The way a mouse feels when the cat decides not to pounce. Not safe. Chosen. Leave us. The guards hesitated. Now. They vanished. Ada remained on her knees, heart still pounding. The chairman circled her slowly, like a predator examining something it had not yet decided to eat. Stand up. She stood. Her legs shook, but she stood. Look at me. She raised her eyes to his face. Up close, he was younger than she expected. Mid-30s maybe. But his eyes were ancient. They had seen things that left permanent shadows. You are the new cleaner. Yes. Night shift. 88th floor. Yes. And you accidentally wandered into the private residence of the chairman of the Geomanyong. Ada's blood went cold. The Geomanyong. The Black Dragon Syndicate. Every immigrant in Seoul knew that name. Knew to avoid it. Knew that people who crossed them simply stopped existing. I did not know. Her voice was barely a whisper. I swear to you, I did not know. Ignorance. He tilted his head slightly. Not a defense I usually accept. Ada felt something snap inside her. Maybe it was the adrenaline. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was the realization that she was probably going to die anyway, so she might as well die with some dignity. Your men put a gun to my head. Her voice came out steady. Quiet. Controlled fury. They did not ask questions. They did not verify. They assumed I was a threat because I am black, because I am foreign, because I was somewhere I was not expected to be. Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, maybe. Or interest. I have been in Seoul for 2 years. I work 3 jobs. I send everyone I can spare back to my family in Nigeria. I do not steal. I do not spy. I clean floors and I go home. Tonight, I was told to clean this floor. If that is a crime worthy of death, then go ahead. Kill me. But at least have the decency to acknowledge that your security protocols are the problem. Not me. For a moment, something flickered behind his eyes. Something that almost looked like recognition. Like he was seeing someone he had been looking for. The chairman stared at her. His expression was unreadable. Then, incredibly, the corner of his mouth twitched. You are either very brave or very stupid to speak to me that way. I am very tired, Ada said flatly. And I have nothing left to lose. Everyone has something to lose. My brother is dying in a hospital in Lagos. I am here because his treatment costs more than my entire family will make in a lifetime. If I die tonight, he dies too. So no, I have nothing to lose. You already own my death. The words hung in the air. Raw. Honest. The kind of truth that usually got people killed. The chairman was silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was different. Softer. What is your name? Adiz. Adiz Okonkwo. Adiz. He said it carefully, tasting the syllables. What does it mean? The king's daughter. Another flicker of something across his face. A king's daughter on her knees, cleaning floors in a foreign country to save her brother's life. Yes. He walked to a bar cart in the corner and poured 2 glasses of whiskey. Expensive whiskey. The kind Ada had only ever seen in magazines. He handed one to her. She stared at it. Drink. I do not. It is not a suggestion. She drank. The whiskey burned all the way down. Tell me about your brother. Ada hesitated. This felt like a trap. Everything about this man felt like a trap. But something in his eyes, something almost human, made her speak. His name is Emeka. He is 23. He has a congenital heart defect. Without surgery, he has maybe a year. Maybe less. Her voice cracked. He was going to be an engineer. He still draws blueprints in his hospital bed. Buildings he will never build. Bridges he will never cross. She did not know why she was telling this to a stranger who could kill her with a phone call. Maybe because he was the first person in Seoul who had asked. How much does the surgery cost? $200,000. American. And how much have you saved? Almost 40,000. Another year of work, maybe 18 months, and I will have enough. If he survives that long. The words were brutal. Also true. Yes. If he survives that long. The chairman set down his glass. Go back to work, Adiz Okonkwo. Finish your shift. My men will not bother you again. Ada blinked. You are letting me go? Was I supposed to do something else? She had no answer for that. She turned to leave. Her hand was on the door when his voice stopped her. Adiz. She looked back. What is your supervisor's name? The one who sent you to the wrong floor? Mr. Park. Why? He smiled. It was not a nice smile. Curiosity. Ada left the penthouse with the feeling that she had just survived something she did not fully understand. The next morning, Mr. Park was gone. Transferred, the other cleaners said. No one knew where. No one asked. And Adiz Okonkwo discovered that she had been personally reassigned to clean the 88th floor. Every night. By the chairman himself. She told him the truth. And that truth? It changed everything. If you're new here, hit subscribe. Because what this woman does next, it's going to break every rule he's ever lived by. Night 1. Her hands shook so badly the glass cleaner shattered. Night 2. He was not there. She cleaned in 40 minutes flat. Night 5. Something impossible happened. She stopped being afraid of him. She noticed things. The poetry books on his nightstand. Rumi. Neruda. Dog-eared. Annotated. In handwriting that was almost tender. She had expected weapons. Ledgers. Evidence of the monster everyone said he was. Instead, love poems by a 13th century mystic. Who was this man? She learned his rhythms without meaning to. He worked until 2, 3, sometimes 4 in the morning. Phone calls in languages she did not recognize. Meetings with men who moved like shadows. The constant, quiet violence of empire. But sometimes she would catch him standing at the window, looking out at the city below with an expression that looked almost like loneliness. On the 7th night, she arrived to find him at the piano. He was not playing. Just sitting there. Staring at the keys like they held answers he had forgotten how to ask for. Can you play? She asked before she could stop herself. He looked up. For a moment, she thought he would dismiss her. My mother made me learn. She said it would make me cultured. His mouth twisted. It made me resentful. That is a shame. Music is a gift. Do you play? No. But I sing. My mother taught me. What do you sing? Old songs. Igbo songs. Lullabies. He was quiet for a long moment. Would you sing something? It was such a strange request. So human. So unexpected from a man who commanded armies of shadows. Ada should have said no. Should have remembered who he was, what he was, the worlds of difference between them. Instead, she sang. An old Igbo lullaby. The one her mother used to sing when the world felt too big and too dark. The last note faded. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Taehyun spoke, and his voice was different. Cracked at the edges. Human. My father told me beauty was a weakness. Ada did not respond. She was afraid to break whatever spell had settled over the room. I spent my life believing him. He finally turned. His eyes were wet. I am beginning to think he was wrong. Ada's heart did something it had no business doing. She reminded herself who he was. What he was. The blood on his hands that no amount of poetry or piano could wash clean. It did not help as much as it should have. The weeks blurred. They talked. Small things at first, her life in Lagos, his childhood in Seoul. Then bigger things. My father was a fisherman, she told him one night. He died when I was 12. Boat accident. We never even found his body. My father was a monster, he replied. He died when I was 23. I was the one who found his body. In his study. Sitting at his desk. He had a heart attack while reviewing execution orders. Ada did not know what to say to that. Do you miss him? I miss the idea of what he could have been. What we could have been to each other. He paused. But no. I do not miss him. That makes me a monster too, I suppose. Or it makes you human. He looked at her then. Really looked. And something shifted between them. A wall crumbling. A door opening. You are a strange woman, Adiz Okonkwo. You are a strange man, Kwon Tae-hyun. He smiled. A real smile. It transformed his entire face. Perhaps that is why we understand each other. The night everything changed, Ada was polishing the glass coffee table when she felt him behind her. You missed a spot. She turned. He was close. Too close. Where? He pointed at nothing. There. That is a reflection. His hand came up. Slowly. Deliberately. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. Ada stopped breathing. This cannot happen. Her voice was barely a whisper. Why not? His grip did not loosen. Because I know what happens to women who catch powerful men's attention. Her voice hardened. We become entertainment. Temporary. And when you are finished, we lose everything. His jaw tightened. Something dark flickered across his face. You think I would do that to you? I do not know you well enough to know what you would do. She pulled back. And I cannot afford to find out. My brother's life depends on this job. He released her. But the way he looked at her, like she had just cut him somewhere he did not know he could bleed. That stayed with her. Then I will have to make you know me. It sounded like a threat. It sounded like a promise. It sounded like the beginning of the end. 3 weeks later, Ada received a phone call. Miss Okonkwo. This is Seoul National University Hospital. Her heart stopped. Your brother's medical bills have been paid. What? All of them. Past and future. An anonymous donor has established a fund for his complete treatment, including the surgery. He has been moved to a private room and scheduled for the operation next month. The phone slipped from her fingers. Ada's blood ran cold. She knew. She knew who the donor was. And she did not know whether to thank him or run. She found him in the penthouse that night. Standing at his window. Looking out at the city he owned. Why? He did not turn around. Why what? My brother. The hospital. The surgery. Her voice cracked. Why would you do that? Does it matter? Of course it matters. She was shaking now. I cannot be bought. I am not for sale. If you think paying for my brother's life means I owe you. He turned then. And the look on his face stopped her cold. It was not calculation. Not smug satisfaction. It was vulnerability. Your brother is dying. His voice was quiet. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. It cost me nothing to save him. It cost you everything to try. That does not answer my question. Why are you doing this? What do you want from me? Tae-hyun was silent. For so long that Ada thought he would not answer. Then. Because you work 14-hour shifts and walk home in worn-out shoes. He stepped closer. Because you skip meals to save money and never complain. Closer. Because you cry in your sleep and apologize to God for not being enough. He was right in front of her now. Close enough that she could see the pulse jumping in his throat. Because looking at you, his voice dropped to barely a whisper. Is the closest I have come to believing that goodness exists. Ada's breath caught. She had spent her whole life feeling invisible. And this man, this terrifying, beautiful, impossible man, saw everything. I do not want you to owe me, Adiz. I want you to be happy. And if your brother being alive makes you happy, then that is all I need. And what about you? She whispered. What would make you happy? He looked at her. The walls were gone. The mask was gone. There was just a man, standing in front of a woman, asking without words for something he had never allowed himself to want. You already know the answer to that. She kissed him. She should not have. Every sensible part of her brain screamed that this was a mistake. That he was dangerous. That this could only end badly. She kissed him anyway. He made a sound, something between a gasp and a groan, and pulled her closer. His hands buried in her hair. His mouth moved against hers like she was the first real thing he had touched in years. She kissed him back. That was her sin. She just did not know the price yet. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Ada felt like she had just stepped off a cliff. "This is insane," she said. "Yes. You are a crime lord." "Yes. I am a cleaner." "Yes. Your people will never accept this." "I do not care about my people." His forehead pressed against hers. "I care about you. Taehyun." "Say it again." "What?" "My name. No one calls me by my name. They call me Chairman or Sir or Kwon Taehyun. But you," he pulled back to look at her. "You just call me Taehyun. Like I am a person. You are a person." I had forgotten. And in that moment, looking into his eyes, Ada understood something terrifying. She was falling in love with the most dangerous man in South Korea. And she had no idea how to stop. That was her first mistake. Because happiness in Taehyun's world was never allowed to last. Comment, protect Ada, if you see what's coming. Because 3 people just found out about her, and the first one to strike was the most dangerous of all. Madame Kwon Seon he did not walk. She arrived. Like winter. Like a verdict. Like the moment before a blade falls. And when she spoke, Ada understood immediately. This woman had destroyed people before breakfast and forgotten them by lunch. She came to Ada's apartment on a Tuesday. No warning. No announcement. Just a knock on the door and the most terrifying woman Ada had ever seen standing in her doorway. "Miss Okonkwo." "Not a question. We need to speak." "How did you find?" "I found you because I wanted to find you. Everything else is irrelevant." She stepped inside without being invited. "My son believes himself to be in love with you." Ada's blood went cold. "I see you do not deny it." Madame Kwon's voice could have frozen the Han River. "At least you are not stupid enough to lie. What do you want?" "I want you to understand something." Madame Kwon pulled an envelope from her coat. Thick. Heavy. "My son is the chairman of the Jeomunyeong. His life is not his own. His choices are not his own. And his heart," her voice dripped contempt, "certainly is not his own to give to a foreign cleaning woman with no family, no connections, and no future." Ada felt something cold settle in her stomach. "You think I am not good enough for him. I think you are a temporary distraction that my son has mistaken for something more. It has happened before. It will happen again." She set the envelope on the table. "But this time, the distraction needs to end. Quickly. Cleanly. Before anyone else gets hurt." "Anyone else?" Madame Kwon smiled. It was the most terrifying thing Ada had ever seen. "Your work visa expires in 8 months. It would be a shame if the renewal was denied." Ada's stomach turned. "You cannot." "I can. I have friends in immigration. Friends in the embassy. Friends in places you cannot imagine." She leaned closer. "And if deportation is not enough motivation, perhaps we should discuss your brother. Emeka, isn't it? Lovely name. Recovering well from his surgery, I understand. It would be such a tragedy if something were to happen to his care. If the bills suddenly came due again. If complications arose." The air left Ada's lungs. "You would not." "I would do anything to protect my son's future." Madame Kwon's voice was ice. "And you, Miss Okonkwo, are a threat to that future. So let me be very clear." She opened the envelope. $500,000. Ada could feel the weight of betrayal in her palm. More than she would make in 20 years of cleaning floors. Enough to save Emeka 10 times over. All she had to do was break her own heart. Take this money. Leave Seoul tonight. Return to Nigeria and never contact my son again. And if I refuse? Madam Kwan's smile widened. Then your visa will be revoked by morning. You will be deported by the end of the week. And your brother, she paused, will die knowing that your foolish heart killed him. The words hit Ada like a physical blow. She thought of Emeka. His smile. His blueprints. The way he called her every Sunday, voice weak but hopeful. She thought of Taehyun. His hands in her hair. His voice breaking when he said her name. She thought of the life she had dared to imagine. The impossible, beautiful life with a man who made her feel seen. And she understood, with perfect clarity, that she could not have both. You have until midnight. Madam Kwan turned to leave. I suggest you choose wisely. The door closed behind her. Ada stood frozen, the envelope heavy in her hands. She sat in that park until 3 a.m., watching her breath cloud in the cold. Part of her, the part that had grown up believing in miracles, wanted to run to Taehyun. Tell him everything. Let him fight for her. But she had seen what happened to people who fought the Kwans. And she had seen Emeka's face last week on the video call. Thinner. Paler. Smiling anyway. When are you coming home, sister? She could not tell him the truth, maybe never. She could not tell him this, I might have found love. And she definitely could not tell him, that love might kill you. By dawn, she had made her choice. It was not the choice she wanted. It was the choice that let her brother live. She wrote the letter 7 times. The first 6 versions told the truth. About his mother. About the threats. About how much she loved him and how sorry she was. The 7th version was a lie. Taehyun. I cannot do this. I thought I could, but I cannot. The world you live in, the things you do, the person you are, I am not strong enough to accept them. Please do not look for me. Please do not try to change my mind. Some gaps are too wide to bridge. Some differences are too deep to overcome. Thank you for everything you did for my brother. I will spend the rest of my life repaying that debt. But I cannot repay it with my heart. I am sorry. Ada. She left it on his pillow with the jade bracelet he had given her. Then she packed one suitcase, walked out of her apartment, and took the first flight to Lagos. She did not let herself cry until she was over the Pacific Ocean. Then she cried until she had nothing left. The men who witnessed what happened next would talk about it for years. Not because he raged. Because he did not. Taehyun found the letter at 3 a.m. He read it once. Twice. 3 times. His face showed nothing. And that was how they knew. Something inside him had died. His mother came to the penthouse the next morning. I heard the girl left. Her voice was calm. Satisfied. It is for the best, Taehyun. You will see that in time. Did you threaten her? A pause. Barely perceptible. I made her understand the realities of her situation. What did you say to her? Does it matter? She is gone. You can focus on what is important now. The company. The syndicate. Your future. What did you say? His voice was quiet. That was the warning his mother should have heard. I told her the truth. That she was unsuitable. That she would destroy everything you have built. That her brother's life and her own future depended on her leaving. Madam Kwan lifted her chin. I did what any mother would do to protect her son. You had no right. I had every right. You are my son. My only child. Everything I have built, everything I have sacrificed, has been for you. Her voice sharpened. And I will not watch you throw it away for some cleaning woman who... She is not some cleaning woman. Then what is she? Taehyun's voice cracked on the words. She is everything. Silence. You have known this woman for weeks. I have known you my entire life. His voice cracked. And you have never once made me feel like I was worth something beyond what I could provide. The words hung in the air like smoke from a burning bridge. She did that in a single night. His mother's face went pale. For the first time, Ada saw something like fear in those cold eyes. Taehyun. You drove away the only person who has ever made me feel like a human being instead of a weapon. His voice shook. If anything happens to her because of your interference, if one hair on her head is harmed, I will burn everything you have built to the ground. Starting with you. You are not thinking clearly. I have never been more clear in my life. He turned away. Get out of my house. Do not come back until I send for you. Taehyun. Get out. She left. And Kwon Taehyun stood alone in his penthouse, holding a letter that had destroyed his world, and began planning how to get it back. Ada used the last of the money for her brother's surgery. The rest sat under her mattress. Blood money she could not bring herself to spend. She told herself she would forget him. She did not. And 6,000 miles away, Taehyun was tearing apart 2 continents to find her. Comment, find her, if you think he will. Because what happens in Lagos? It's going to wreck you. 3 months passed. Lagos hit her like a homecoming and a funeral at once. The heat. The noise. The smell of suya smoke and diesel fumes. Mama Chioma's restaurant was small, 8 tables, yellow paint peeling from the walls, a ceiling fan that squeaked with every rotation. Ada prepped vegetables at 5 a.m. Served customers until midnight. Fell into bed too exhausted to dream. It was better that way. Dreams meant seeing his face. She sang at night, when she was sure no one could hear. A Korean ballad about a dragon who fell in love with the moon. The dragon spent eternity chasing her across the sky. The moon spent eternity running. Not because she did not love him. Because she knew getting too close would destroy them both. Ada understood that song now. She was the moon. And somewhere in Seoul, a dragon was still chasing. He stopped eating. Minjun noticed first, the way suits hung looser, the way coffee replaced meals, the way his oldest friend was becoming a ghost in his own skin. Brother, he said one night, perhaps it is time. To accept what? Taehyun's eyes were hollow. That I will never see her again? That my mother won? I am saying you are destroying yourself. Good. He turned back to the window. At least I will feel something. He hired investigators. Men who specialized in finding people who did not want to be found. They found her in week 8. A small restaurant in Yaba. Yellow paint. Squeaky ceiling fan. The Lagos heat hit him like a wall. Taehyun had never been to Africa before. The colors were different here, brighter, fiercer, alive in a way Seoul's grey towers never were. He found the restaurant at sunset. Bright yellow paint. Hand-lettered signs. The smell of pepper soup drifting through the open window. And through the glass, Ada. Wiping tables. Hair wrapped in colorful fabric. Moving like someone who had learned to carry weight without showing it. She was thinner than he remembered. Sadder. Still the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. He pushed open the door. The bell chimed. Ada looked up with her customer smile. And the tray she was carrying crashed to the floor. He stood in the doorway. Kwon Taehyun. Chairman of the Jeomunyeong. Most dangerous man in South Korea. Standing in a Lagos restaurant like it was the most natural thing in the world. Hello, Ada. She could not breathe. Could not think. You are supposed to be in Seoul. And you are supposed to be in Seoul. And yet here we are. How did you? Did you think I would not look? He stepped closer. Did you think I would just let you go? That I would read your letter and accept it? You were supposed to. To what? Move on? Forget you? His voice broke. I have tried, Ada. For 3 months, I have tried. I cannot. Your mother. My mother has no power over me. Not anymore. She threatened Emeka. She threatened. I know. His jaw tightened. She told me everything. And she will never threaten anyone you love again. I made sure of it. Ada's knees felt weak. You cannot be here. Why not? Because your world and my world, they do not fit together. Then I will leave my world. He stepped closer. I will burn it down if that is what it takes. You cannot give up everything. I already lost everything. His voice cracked. The night you left. The night I read that letter. Everything that mattered to me walked out the door. You deserve better than me, Ada whispered. You deserve someone from your world. Someone who understands your life. I deserve someone who sees me as a person. Not a weapon. Not a symbol. Not a means to an end. He reached out, touching her face like she was something precious. You are the only person who has ever done that. Taehyun. Do you love me? The question hung in the air. You know I do. Then tell me again. Say it. Say the words. I love you. The tears were falling now. I love you. I love you improbably. Inconveniently. Irrevocably. And I do not know how to stop. Then don't. He pulled her closer. Don't stop. Don't run. Don't sacrifice yourself for my sake or Emeka's sake or anyone else's sake. Just, stay. Be with me. Let me spend the rest of my life proving that you made the right choice. What about your empire? Your syndicate? I am building something new. His voice was firm. Legitimate businesses. Clean money. A life that does not require blood as currency. Your mother will never accept this. My mother will learn. Or she will not. Either way, I am done living for her approval. Ada looked at him. This impossible man. This dragon who had chased her across the world. And for the first time in 3 months, she felt hope. What if it does not work, she whispered. Then we fail together. That is still better than succeeding apart. She kissed him then. They kissed until they could not breathe. Until 3 months of silence finally broke. Until Lagos faded and Seoul faded and there was nothing in the world but this. Two people who had no business finding each other. Choosing each other anyway. Emeka met Taehyun that night. He looked at his sister's face, tear-streaked but radiant, and made a decision. I think maybe I will like you. But happiness in Taehyun's world never lasts. Because while they were building something new, an old enemy was watching. Waiting. And he had just found the chairman's only weakness. Like this video right now if you want Ada to survive what's coming. Comment, protect her, because the next scene? It's going to break you. The attack happened 3 blocks from her school. First, the sound. A delivery truck slamming into their car with a sound like the world ending. Then, the glass. Everywhere. In her hair. On her face. Cutting. Sergeant Kim drew his weapon. 2 shots. Then silence. Jaewon's voice, far away, run. Ada ran. 10 steps. Then something struck the back of her head. And the world went black. When she woke, she was in a concrete room. No windows. Bound wrists. Blood in her mouth. A camera pointed at her face. And a man's voice, slick with satisfaction. Smile for the chairman. He is going to want to see this. The ransom video arrived at 2:47 p.m. Taehyun was mid-meeting when his phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. Minjun checked his own phone, and his face went white. 2 words. Whispered. It is Ada. The room fell silent. Taehyun opened the video. Ada on screen. Bound. Bruised. A gun to her temple. $200 million. 24 hours. Or we start sending pieces. The video ended. And something in Taehyun turned off. The men around that table had known Kwon Taehyun for years. They had seen him angry. They had seen him cold. They had seen him order deaths with less emotion than ordering coffee. They had never seen this. This was something else. Something that made even his most loyal soldiers want to run. His eyes were empty. Not cold. Empty. Like a house after everyone inside has died. Everyone out, he said quietly. Except Minjun. They fled. Find out where she is. You have 1 hour. And then? Taehyun smiled. It was the worst thing Minjun had ever seen. Then I am going to kill every single person who touched her. They found the location in 43 minutes. An abandoned warehouse in Incheon. Young Soo-hyuk, a rival syndicate lieutenant with old grudges and new ambitions. But when Taehyun's men breached the building, they found something that made his blood freeze. Empty chairs. Cut ropes. And a message painted in red on the concrete wall. You are too late, Chairman. She is already gone. Taehyun's phone buzzed. A new video. Ada on screen. Still bound. But somewhere different now. A moving vehicle. The camera shaking. Young Soo-hyuk's voice, did you think it would be that easy? The price just doubled. 400 million. You have 12 hours. And Chairman, if I see one of your men within 10 miles of any of my locations, I will send her back to you in pieces. Starting with her fingers. The video cut to Ada's hand. A blade pressing against her ring finger. Her scream filled the room. Then silence. Taehyun did not move. Did not breathe. Something behind his eyes simply switched off. Everyone out, he said quietly. Minjun hesitated. Brother. I said everyone out. They left. And for the first time in 15 years, Kwon Taehyun did something no one had ever seen him do. He fell to his knees. The phone clutched in his hand. Her scream echoing in his skull. He had built an empire. Commanded thousands. Made men twice his age tremble with a glance. And he could not save one woman. The woman who mattered more than all of it. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. He answered. Chairman Kwon. A woman's voice. Familiar. Cold. It seems we have a mutual problem. His blood went cold. Mother. Young Soo-hyuk has made a grave miscalculation, Madam Kwon continued. He believes kidnapping your little cleaner gives him leverage over the Jeomun-yong. He does not understand that touching what belongs to my son is touching what belongs to me. Taehyun's grip tightened on the phone. You drove her away. You threatened her brother. You. And I will spend the rest of my life atoning for that. Her voice cracked, something he had never heard before. But right now, I know where she is. And I know how to get her back. Silence stretched between them. Why would you help me? Because I saw your face at the hospital. When you watched her sleeping. When you thought no one was looking. Madam Kwon's voice softened. I have not seen that face since your father died. I forgot you were capable of it. What do you want in return? A chance. That is all. A chance to be your mother again. A chance to know the woman who made my son human. Taehyun closed his eyes. Where is she? The port. Container 847. But Taehyun, there is something else you need to know. What? Young Soo-hyuk is not working alone. Someone inside the Jeomun-yong gave him information about Ada. Her schedule. Her security detail. Everything. The words hit like a blade between his ribs. A traitor. Someone close to him. Someone he trusted. Who? I do not know yet. But I will find out. Get the girl first. Find the rat later. She hung up. Taehyun stood slowly. His hands were steady now. His heart was ice. 12 men. His most trusted. They assembled in under 20 minutes. But as Taehyun looked at their faces he had known for years, men who had bled beside him, killed for him, he realized any one of them could be the traitor. Any one of them could have sold Ada to his enemy. He told them nothing about the real location. We split into 3 teams, he said calmly. Team 1 takes the East Docks. Team 2 takes the Industrial District. Team 3, with me. Minjun frowned. And the real location? Taehyun met his oldest friend's eyes. Only I know that. Something flickered across Minjun's face. Hurt, maybe. Or understanding. You do not trust us. I do not trust anyone right now. Taehyun's voice was flat. Not until I have her back. Not until I know who betrayed us. He turned to leave. Brother. Minjun's voice stopped him. Whatever you find in that container, do not let it break you. Taehyun did not respond. He was already broken. He just needed her to put him back together. The port was silent at 3 a.m. Container 847 sat at the far end of the yard. Rusted. Unmarked. The kind of place people went to disappear. Taehyun moved alone. No backup. No witnesses. Just a man walking toward the woman he loved, or what was left of her. The container door was unlocked. He pulled it open. And his heart stopped. Ada sat in the center of the container. Bound to a chair. Head slumped forward. She was not moving. Ada. Her name tore from his throat. Ada. He ran to her. Dropped to his knees. Lifted her face with shaking hands. Her eyes fluttered open. Taehyun? She was alive. Alive. I am here. Tears streamed down his face. I am here. I have you. It is a trap, she whispered. He knew you would come alone. He knew. The container door slammed shut behind him. Locks clicked into place. And Young Soo-hyuk's voice echoed through the metal walls. Did you really think the great Chairman Kwon would walk into my trap and I would not be ready? Taehyun spun around. Darkness. Complete darkness. The container is airtight, Young continued, his voice coming through a speaker somewhere above them. You have approximately 3 hours of oxygen. Maybe less, with 2 people breathing. Ada's breath quickened beside him. I considered killing you quickly, Young said. But this is better. The chairman of the Jeomun-yong, suffocating in a shipping container with his African whore. Poetic, do you not think? The speaker clicked off. Silence. Absolute silence. Taehyun pulled out his phone. No signal. The metal walls blocked everything. There has to be a weakness, he muttered. Every container has a weakness. The ventilation, Ada said suddenly. When they first brought me in, I felt air coming from somewhere above. There must be vents. Taehyun reached into his jacket. His emergency lighter. He flicked it on. The tiny flame illuminated the container in flickering orange light. Ada looked terrible. Bruised. Bloodied. But her eyes were fierce. There. She nodded toward the ceiling. Those vents. 2 small circular vents. Maybe 4 inches in diameter. Too small to escape through. But big enough for smoke. Smoke rises. He tore a strip from his jacket lining. If I can get burning fabric into those vents, someone outside might see it. And if no one comes? He met her eyes. Then we die together. Ada held his gaze. I can think of worse endings. He kissed her. Hard. Desperate. Like it might be the last time. Then he climbed onto the chair and stuffed burning fabric into the vent. 1 hour passed. Ada's breathing grew shallow. Taehyun's head pounded. His vision blurred at the edges. The oxygen was running out. Taehyun. Ada's voice was barely a whisper. I need to tell you something. Save your breath. No. I need to say it. She reached for his hand. That letter I wrote. The one that said I could not accept who you are. It does not matter now. It was a lie. Every word. Tears slid down her cheeks. Your mother threatened Emika. I had no choice. I know. His voice cracked. I know everything. And you still came for me. I will always come for you. Always. Her eyes fluttered closed. Stay awake. He shook her gently. Ada. Stay with me. I am tired, Taehyun. I know. But I need you to fight. Just a little longer. What if no one comes? He did not have an answer. So he sang. The Korean lullaby about the dragon and the moon. His voice was hoarse. Breaking. But he sang anyway. And Ada smiled weakly. You remembered. I remember everything about you. Her hand squeezed his. If we die here. We are not going to die. But if we do, she forced her eyes open. I need you to know. That night in the penthouse. When I sang for you. When I saw you cry. That was when I fell in love with you. Taehyun felt tears streaming down his face. A king's daughter, she whispered. And her dragon. Her eyes closed. She did not open them again. Ada. He shook her. Ada. Nothing. She was limp in his arms. He could not tell if she was breathing. The darkness pressed in. His lungs burned. His vision tunneled. This was it. This was how it ended. Not in battle. Not in glory. Suffocating in a metal box with the only woman he had ever loved. And then. Bang. Light exploded into the container. A silhouette in the doorway. Taehyun could not see who it was. Could not make out the face. But he heard the voice. And it stopped his heart. Hello, brother. Minjun stepped into the light. Did you really think I would let you die? Taehyun stared at his oldest friend. His brother in everything but blood. The man who had stood beside him for 20 years. And then Ada's words echoed in his fading mind. Words she had whispered before she lost consciousness. I saw him. When they first took me. Before they put the bag over my head. I saw who gave the order. Who? Taehyun had asked. It was Minjun. Now Minjun stood in the doorway. Savior. Or betrayer. Taehyun's vision blurred. His lungs screamed for air. Ada lay motionless in his arms. And the man who might have sold them both to their enemy extended his hand. We need to go, brother. Now. Before Young's men return. Taehyun looked at that hand. The hand of his oldest friend. The hand that might have signed Ada's death warrant. Trust him and live. Or refuse and die. He had 3 seconds to decide. His vision went black. And the last thing he heard was Minjun's voice. I am sorry, brother. For everything. Then nothing. If this story made you feel something, do not leave without subscribing. Hit that like button right now. And drop a comment. Do you think Minjun is the betrayer? Did he sell Ada to save himself? Or is there something deeper going on? Because the truth is more twisted than you think. And what happens next will change everything. Part 2 drops soon. Make sure your notifications are on. Until next time.